Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of Jacksnax. Today I'm going to teach you guys how to make the Keith Richards sound without having to go to a 5-string guitar. Alright, so hang tight. Alright, let's take a look at how to get the Faux Keith. Alright, now Keith Richards ditched the low E string and tuned the A and the high E down a whole step to get an open G sound with the G as the lowest note, right? If I tune this down to open G, this string gets kind of in the way sometimes. And so you end up trying to navigate around that. And so he was just like, screw it, took off the low E, and then the lowest note of the chord becomes its root, right? And so this is how he would be playing a C chord, right? So these guys, that's the 5, root, and third of our C chord, and he tunes this note down to, so it sounds like a C note, but played there, where we normally would hear a D, right? So that's what he plays to hear this sound. It's lazy, but it also opened up a lot of great opportunities for him to write all these great tunes with those cool suspensions he likes, right? But having the support of that low voicing under there. So how do we get both? How do we get our cake and eat it too? Don't have to detune, don't have to have a dedicated 5-string guitar in an open G tuning. So what I do is I take this C note and I displace it to the E string here, all right? And then you get these guys barred with the index. But you have to skip the A string, okay? So the way we get around that is we flatten out the pinky enough so that it mutes the A string, all right? And you make sure that that your pinky is coming down straight enough so that you're not pushing it off the board. And you definitely don't want to pull it down, okay? Then you'll be taking the root of the chord and making it sharp. So you gotta be kind of sensitive to what's happening with your pinky, okay? My thumb is in the middle of the back of the neck at kind of like a 45-degree angle. That seems to be easy, and my elbow tends to tuck in when I play this style. So now we've got this high E. We're going to want to kind of mute as well with the chubby part of the side of our index finger, right where we would normally like, that second knuckle area in between the first and the second knuckle, right? Now, once you get that together, we start going like this with the ring finger to get the same sound as this. So that's Chuck Berry. If you want to do, you can do that, or you could always just default to what you've been playing probably. Okay, so this kind of backdoor approach works really well for just pedaling between the 5 and the 6 of a power chord. And even cooler is when we start taking the real approach that Keith takes with this suspension of adding not just the 6th, but coming up from the 3 into the suspended 4th. So we basically form the 4 chord inverted with the 5 in it, with its 5th in the bass. All right, so this does double duty basically. Right there, that's like, right? That's suspending the C sound. But it also can act as the 4 chord in some other tunes. So like in Can't You Hear Me Knockin', there's a section where he's playing G, and you hear an F chord, then to C. But Keith's really crafty about it. He does G, that's the F chord, then to C, sorry, I didn't get there quite fast enough, right? So you're going to have to figure out a few ways of, kind of finessing your way through to make it sound like you're playing the telly with an open tuning. All right, so this suspension of the 4 and the 6 is kind of the hallmark of, I guess it's kind of, once Keith started doing this, you know, it just really got all over his style. All right, there's a couple of other little suspensions that he uses. If you just take the ring finger, bring it down to what's now the D note, okay, so relative to its root here of C, that's its ninth. Okay, and that creates that kind of more ethereal sound that you hear at the beginning of, that suspension is what you're hearing at the beginning of Gimme Shelter, all right? Right, so that's... Right, that's the same thing done over a B chord, right? So you've got the... That's your, you know, your... Right, that's the suspension with the 6 and the 4. Gimme Shelter has the 2 and the 4, or the 9 and the 4, depending. I guess that's technically like a ninth, right? Always remember, skip that 6, okay? You don't want to hear that. It's just too damn jazzy for the Stones, right? All right. And then last but not least, Keith likes to also use this one here. Okay, so we're putting the 9th and the flat 5, and that's again used at the beginning of Gimme Shelter. Right? It's kind of hard like this. So the open A chord, I do this way. So the cool thing is you have the familiarity to be able to solo in standard, but you can still play some of these, that open tuning sound. Really great for the phony Stonesy. And I guess the other place where we'll hear that flat 5 suspension is, you know, in Can't You Hear Me Knock, and you get that over top of this C chord. That right? So again, Keith's doing that G. That's the F with the 5 in the bass. Back to C. So these are kind of just the, I guess it's the gateway drug to this technique. You don't have to only use it in Stones tunes, but that's definitely what I learned this technique in order to be able to do. All right, so I hope you guys can take this and run with it and incorporate it into your playing. You know, it's super handy. Like, you know, if you want to play Street Fighting Man. That, you know. All right, gang, that's going to wrap up my little phony Keith Richards lesson. I hope you guys are happy and doing great, and tune in again. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and I'll see you around soon. All right, cheers.